So, how was your brunch?
It was nice. We went to Giada, and then the fire alarm went off.
Oh,
But literally, we have fire alarms going off, and literally no one gets up to leave. Everyone's all like, "We're gonna eat our souffle and burn to death."
I mean,
Hello, listeners, and thank you for tuning into Those Nerds Over There. This is an enthusiast podcast centered around celebrating and discussing nerd culture. We're your hosts. I'm Alan.
and I'm Sal.
And Sal, yesterday we celebrated your birthday along with our good friend Suspiria's birthday, and then kind of my birthday, and also our other friend Sean.
Yes, it was funny because there were more people's birthdays there in this month than there were not people's birthdays.
Oh, well, then you make it sound kind of sad.
I think that's hilarious. And my friend Kyle actually showed up later with his girlfriend, and his girlfriend's birthday is today.
Oh, well, happy birthday. What's her name?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Sorry, Kyle.
Anyway.
I bring it up because it reminded me of a fun little story my former PI told me.
Okay.
So my former PI, Dr. Dana Miller, has a daughter, and she has a very, I think, fun classification for age. And, you know, we always like to joke about how old we are.
Okay, go on.
And she told me that the way her daughter classifies how old people are, you know, you're either young, and then, you know, when you're above like 15, you become what she calls vintage.
It just goes from young to vintage.
And then
Okay.
once you get past vintage, you become an antique.
Okay.
And then once you get to apparently her mother's age, you are an artifact.
All right. Well, that's not ancient.
No, but my favorite part about this this system that she's created is it's all very nice euphemisms for old.
It is nice. I like being called vintage.
Yeah, so we're vintage.
All right. That's acceptable. I'm fine with that. The vintage era. You know, get rid of millennial.
Oh, that'd be fun when was it people trying to market towards us like that instead of calling us millennials and Gen Z, which is vintage.
Yeah, I like that better.
Is it? And then she proceeded to tell us a fun little story where she and her daughter were driving around Seattle, and at one point her daughter had said, "Mom, why does everything here look so vintage?" And she replied, "Oh, it's like, this is all fake vintage. These are hipsters."
All right. Yeah, that's funny because at that point when she's saying vintage, I don't know if she's referring to old or the actual term for vintage, which which now that I think about it, does she know the actual term for vintage?
I don't know, but I'm sure, was it, if I were around her age. I remember when I was her age, I thought like 28 was ancient.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I remember when my mom turned 30 and I was just like, old.
Oh, Lord. No, now we're old.
Unfortunate. All right, let's move on.
No, we're vintage. I'm sorry.
There you go.
Okay.
We are classy.
I don't know if that implies a certain age, though.
I mean, but vintage is usually classy, right? They go together, I think.
That's my answer.
Would you rather me say bougie? Exactly.
Okay. Okay, so normally we would move on to what we call the nut jar here. It's a jar I emptied of its nuts, and then we filled with listener-submitted questions. These are like nerd-themed questions that are fun to discuss. You know, we pull them out, we answer them, then we throw it into the audience, and we want to hear what you guys say. But recently I moved back home, and I had to throw away the jar.
And you threw away the questions?
No. I kept the questions.
Oh, okay.
I've kept the questions. I still have them, the sacred questions.
Okay.
They're in a little...
Just like... I just threw away the whole jar with the question.
No. I had to throw away the jar. I have the questions, and I'm currently working my way through a new jar of nuts. You can hear them right there.
Oh, okay.
So there's no satisfying sound of the question today, but I pre-drew this one. This one comes from one of my close friends, Jeffrey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can find him. Okay, bear with me. You can find him on Instagram. It's Jeffrey with 9 Fs. So
Okay.
yeah, but he also wanted me to include his LinkedIn. So if you look up Jeffrey Young on LinkedIn, JEFFREYYEUNG, he has a bachelor's in economics from the University of Reno, and he's very interested in working in an environment solving complex problems that needs to be addressed in the esports and gaming industry. I'm reading that verbatim. But yeah, no, he has a pretty extensive history playing was it CS:GO? You know, he's played in a lot of open tournaments, and I think he said he made it to IM one time or a couple times. I'm not sure. Yeah, so he really loves gaming. He really wants to get involved in that. But his question today is, which character from each of the main Pokemon squads would most likely become homeless?
Wait, what?
I repeat, which character from each of the main Pokemon squads would most likely become homeless?
I don't... That's... I never thought I'd have to think about this. All right, can you start naming characters?
Okay, so, I mean... Do you just want to go through the characters one at a time and see if we can reach an agreement on their housing value?
Yes, that sounds great.
Okay, well, first the main character, Ash. He's basically already homeless.
Yes, but he has protagonist privilege.
He's also always 10 years old.
That's true. So he'll always have a mother with a house, right?
Right, so then I guess would... we don't call children homeless, do we?
They would be orphans.
No. So probably not Ash.
No.
All right, and then his first companions were Misty and Brock, who are both gym leaders.
Okay.
And Brock ended up going to medical school after whatever season he left in.
Yeah, and Misty seemed well off also. So definitely not them.
No, and also Gary ended up becoming a Pokemon professor.
What?
Yeah, no, he followed in his grandpa's footsteps.
Oh, okay. That's not the direction I thought Gary would take his life.
No, he calmed down a lot, surprisingly.
All right. Yeah, he got past those bully years. And he became a better person.
That's kind of nice, even though they're still 10. Even though they're 10-year-olds, they're growing up, which is nice.
Yeah.
The next person, and I think this is probably the most promising answer to this question, was Tracy from the Orange Island series.
Ah, yes. I actually really enjoyed the Orange Islands.
Was it the whole filler season?
Yeah. But Tracy,
like, when he shows up, at this moment, he's just working for Professor Oak.
Uh-huh.
Which is a lab assistant, which I guess isn't bad. But prior to that, I think all he did was art. Which I'm not...
Okay.
No, I'm not trying to throw shade or anything. It's just not typically something sustainable.
I mean, yeah, they call starving artists for a reason, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, not looking good. Also, the assistant sounds like an internship kind of thing. So it could be a not paid internship.
Yeah, especially because, like, the main form of income in this world is just beating up other kids.
Yeah, so... And he wasn't a good trainer, from what I remember.
All I remember is he had a Meryl, which is not great until it evolves.
Yeah. And if it's anything like Pikachu.
All right, but Ash's Pikachu's OP.
Yeah, well, protagonist privilege.
Protagonist privilege. All right. After Orange Islands, we went to Hoenn. Yeah, and then we had May and Max.
Who are also children.
They are. But May seemed like... Because she reappeared in further seasons, and she seemed to be doing really well for herself as a coordinator.
Oh, okay. I don't think So, May and Max, and then whatever the next one is.
After May?
Yeah. With Dawn, I think?
Yeah, Dawn.
Yeah, I seen maybe a couple of those, but then, like, that's where you lose me. So, yeah, so May and Max was smart, even though he was kind of stupid. You know, like, he was like book smart, but when it came to, like, real world things, I thought he was stupid. But
yeah.
I mean,
there was an episode where he was at a trainer school and he was trying to like show, you know, his smarts, and he ended up like just getting his Pokemon fainted because he kept using defensive moves instead of attacking.
Yeah, I remember this episode where they went to see some like park or forest, and he wanted to see the Pokemon, and he knew all these facts about the Pokemon, but he didn't know he would be in danger going in there by himself.
Low self-preservation. But would that make you homeless?
No, I think he would have had a bright future in some Pokemon field.
And yeah, May was doing fine.
All right.
Dawn's mother was a top coordinator, and they seem pretty good. So I don't think Dawn was at risk of losing her home.
All right. Was it only Dawn, or was there someone else there too?
No, okay, up until like Brock was still with them during this season.
Right.
And then it was after this season, I believe, when they went to Black and White that Brock was no longer there.
Okay.
Yeah, so after this season, you got Iris and Silas, or Silin, I think.
Yeah, this is where you lose me. I can't even picture them.
Okay, well, they're both gym leaders, first of all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Silin is one of triplets who run a successful gym / restaurant.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
So, I mean, he was
getting
fine.
all that backstory.
Yeah, he was fine. I don't know about Iris. I think she was okay. Oh, okay, wait, hold on. We're missing the most likely candidates, Jesse and James.
I mean, they were homeless.
Yeah.
They were basically already homeless, right?
Yeah.
So do they count?
I mean, well, okay, I guess they're not technically from the main Pokemon squads.
Yeah.
Also, Tracy's last name is Sketchit.
All right. So creative.
Yeah, and then after that, okay, I stopped watching halfway through Black and White.
All right. So
then after that
it was X and Y, right?
and they had Serena and some kid named Clement and his little sister.
All I know is people really like Serena, so
Yeah. They think, was it people say like Serena's the canonical ship, and I'm just like, these are 10-year-olds.
These are children that don't age too.
It's like, these are children, come on.
I mean, you know, if it's fictional. Anyway, yeah. So I mean, Tracy would be the best candidate for homelessness. That sounds so bad coming out of my mouth.
Oh my lord, this is, it just feels so bad to be talking about this. Just making light of homelessness. Oh, good lord.
I mean, statistically speaking, you know, I'm just gonna go straight numbers.
We're bringing statistics into this.
Yes. Blame the numbers.
All right. Yeah, no, I think probably Tracy, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he was the only person without parents who had a very stable job or was already a gym leader, which I think is already a job.
I think so. Like, their homes are massive. Brock, like, they lived in the gym, first of all, and those things were always massive.
Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, kind of no contest when you're pinned up against those people.
Poor Tracy.
Rest in peace, or wherever you are. Hopefully not dead.
Yeah, and then right now we're on Sun and Moon, and all those characters seem pretty well off.
Yeah, I do remember seeing a comparison of the original Ash and then like Sun and Moon Ash, and just how like different the art styles have kind of changed.
Oh yeah, I think first off, I think people went ballistic as they normally do.
Yeah, well, people.
No, but I like it. This evolution of art style, we've gone from very polygonal, and same thing with the Pokemon games in general. We went from like kind of sharp to more rounded designs.
Yeah. It's very interesting though, because I would watch or I'd catch glimpses of the new Pokemon and not even realize the change until I went back and saw the old ones, because like the change seemed kind of so gradual that if you didn't compare them, you wouldn't really notice. At least for me, anyway.
Okay, so you're like, you need season 1 Ash and just like a timeline of Ashes to like see the minute changes and details.
Yeah, because otherwise, just like Ash as a character just looks one way to me, regardless of where he is on the timeline.
the quote unquote timeline.
Yeah, the timeline that never moves forward.
Listeners, who from Pokemon do you think is most likely to become homeless?
Yes, I would. Do we got any Pokemon anime fans out there?
I always say like I should probably get back into it now, but there's so much.
Nah, the Pokemon anime is just too childish for me.
Oh wow, okay.
I don't know. It's just I'll watch it and just think, wow, this is definitely for kids. Like, it's so light.
I mean, that's nice.
It is nice, but I mean,
do you want like the movie, like every movie where
yes,
you want to like the movie where in every episode Ash will die and then come back?
Yes.
Okay.
You know, if I want to watch a good Pokemon, I just go watch one of the movies.
You want a dark, gritty Pokemon anime.
Yeah, give me that.
Okay, well, luckily Detective Pikachu's coming out for you.
Right. Or just, go watch the Pokemon, what was it, Origins or Red and Blue, something like that. Those were good.
Oh, the one with the new one, right?
Yeah, the one where the Pokemon don't talk.
Thanks again, Jeff. Listeners, if you want to submit some questions to be read out on the show, feel free to send them to thosenerdscast@gmail.com or send them to us on Twitter @thosenerdscast. Feel free to add some kind of social media tag or anything you want, like broadcast, so we can send and direct listeners to your cool stuff.
All right, Alan. So what did you get excited about this week?
All right. So this week I got excited about Fruits Basket. Mm-hmm. These aren't just your normal fruits in a basket. This is an anime.
Yes, a old anime, I guess, for now.
Yes. It's so originally the anime adaptation of this manga aired in 2001.
See, 2001 doesn't sound that far away, but it is that far away.
I mean, it's over a decade now.
Yeah, when I think far away, I think 90s, but I'm old.
No, you're vintage.
There you go.
But yeah, the original anime aired in 2001. I watched it. It was one of the first animes I'd ever seen. And early in 2018, or late in 2018, when I'm saying November, Funimation or whatever announced that there's a reboot coming.
Nice.
And the reboot actually premiered on April 5th of 2019. For us, that was yesterday.
Oh. Okay. I was just gonna ask, is there a release date?
So right now, if you're a Crunchyroll premium,
yes,
you can watch it. But if you want to watch the show, and I highly recommend it, it's available April 12th. For subbed, it's the dub is available on Funimation streaming service.
Of course.
And a quick tangent, something I just read up. So, like, the advent of streaming services kind of killed off piracy, but because we have so many new streaming services, people are kind of turning back to piracy again.
Yeah, it's kind of a crappy problem because it wouldn't be a problem if the streaming services were like, hey, let's just put everything on the streaming services and you get to, pick a streaming service. But now that everyone wants to have their own animes on this specific streaming service, well, you can't get all of them. So now we're back exactly where we started.
Yeah, I was actually looking for One Punch Man Season 2, because it's airing this month too. And that one's exclusively on Hulu.
Of course. You can use my account if you want.
Oh, thank you. But sorry, back to Fruits Basket. How much of this show do you know? I know it's old.
All right. I don't know anything.
That's perfect for me.
It was during a time, because, it's old. And when I first got into anime, those were the types of anime I would avoid, because I was very much like action shonen anime. This is all I watch. And I was naive.
All right, cool. That, it works perfect for me, because I'm certain this is an old show and a lot of listeners have no idea what the show is, but think high school slice of life mixed with a reverse harem and just a pinch of some anime mysticism.
Anime mysticism?
That's correct, because we have some typical slice of life high school stuff, or at least Japanese high school stuff that we see in anime. They do things like a sports festival and springtime and drama. But there's little magic in here, and I'll get into a second.
What, does it involve a fruit basket?
No, actually, the title comes from apparently a game that Japanese children play called Fruits Basket.
Ah, okay. It all makes sense now.
And they kind of go over in the show. But the anime follows 3 characters, and that's, probably starting the development when I was young of why I love character-driven stories.
Uh-huh.
And our 3 main characters are Toru Honda, Yuki Soma, and Kyo Soma.
Oh, look at you. Kill those names.
I don't know.
Not butcher them, but, compared to when I try to pronounce names. All right, go on.
But Yuki Soma and Kyo Soma, they're part of, in the show, called the Soma family, and they're cursed, and here's the magic. So certain members of their family inherit spirits of the Chinese zodiac.
Okay.
And when they're under some kind of sickness that induces or some intense stress, or when they come in contact with a member of the opposite sex, they transform into the animal that is their Chinese zodiac spirit.
Oh.
Yep. And
No, go on, please.
So then there's moments in the show that you create these situations that are funny where people will run into the character and all of a sudden they turn to the animal, their clothes fall off. When they turn back, they're completely naked. So there's that kind of gag humor.
Yes. Classic anime.
Classic anime. But then we go into a deeper kind of thing about, them having this curse and all these children growing up with it, how messed up it makes their lives. It makes them difficult for their parents to love them. At one point they mention how when the children are born and then their parents hug them and they just turn immediately into the animal.
Oh.
Yeah. The parents either immediately are disgusted with the children or they become overprotective of them.
Mm-hmm.
And over the course of the show, we meet basically all 13, and I say 13 even though there's only 12 zodiac animals, 13 characters that transform.
Uh-huh.
And each of them are kind of messed up in their own way, but like I said, character driven, you get to know them more intimately. And my favorite character show is the main character. Her name is Toru Honda, and she's this outsider from the Soma family. She's a high school freshman, and she's been recently orphaned.
Oh.
And she comes in contact with the Soma family. She's so kind, and she's able to anytime one of the new characters comes in with their problems, she's able to kind of take it in. She shows she's accepting, and she kind of I don't want to say fixes them, but it's this really nice interaction they have, and it's sweet. And I was growing up with this anime, and my favorite character became Toru because I think she's incredibly strong. And when we think about strength or strength of will, especially when it comes to anime, I think our immediate thoughts go to more of the action animes instead of characters like Toru in this kind of genre.
Right.
And, her character, I think, really speaks to this idea that people have different forms of strength. Because in the show, she's an orphan, and throughout the show, just continually misfortune occurs to her. But she's able to smile through it, and she always stays kind. She tries to be understanding. And it's to a fault, really, because it ends up being to her detriment to her health a lot of the time. But it's this nice feeling that you see when her kindness is rewarded, not in, money or whatever. But she gets all these, new people in her life caring. She has this found family towards the end of the show, and it's just incredibly sweet. And she starts out the show being this girl who, not wanting to be a burden, she thought she didn't want to be a burden to the rest of her family after she was orphaned. She buys a tent and starts living in the woods, trying to support herself to pay her own tuition for school.
Wow.
Yeah. And originally in 2001, when the show aired, good Lord, what was I? That was 18 years ago.
Oh, God.
So I was 4 years old.
Nice.
I thought Toru was just incredibly inspiring. I guess I saw that kindness, and I really wanted to be able to, be as kind as Toru. And, I hope I've gotten closer to that. But, when I see her towards the end of the show, just surrounded by these people who aren't her family, but, they treat her like it, that kind of life was one I could really appreciate.
Right. She kind of, just from the description, she kind of reminds me of Sakuta.
Yeah.
From Bunny Girl Senpai.
I would say she's very much like that.
Okay, that's super cool. And I didn't know about all this Fruits Basket. All I remember was knowing that it was a slice of life harem, and I had no idea there was supernatural elements or these deep characters. So yeah, I'll watch it.
Was it people if you can find the original 2001 run, I say go for it. But like I said, we got a reboot now.
Right.
And the reboot, it's like a Full Metal Alchemist versus Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, because the 2001 anime, that adaptation deviated from the actual manga story. Yeah, so when they announced this adaptation, they said, they're going to actually adapt the whole manga instead.
Okay.
Right, and so far I've watched the first episode. Just this wave of nostalgia has hit me because it's basically a recreation of the first episode, but much, current art style. The character eyes no longer occupy 50% of the face. They only occupy a third of the face. We're getting about 17% more face.
Oh man, that bad 2000s anime eyes.
As I'm watching this first episode, the next episode doesn't come out until April 13th. I've been using this metaphor a lot in real life. It's just like I'm being revisited by old friends. It's like this wave of nostalgia hits me. And I'm watching both. This is one of the weird instances where I'm going to watch both the sub and the dub version. Because the English dub version, the voice actors for the main cast are reprising their roles. The 2001 voice actors and actresses are the same ones in this 2019 adaptation.
Wow, that's incredible. They must be old.
And then something I'm gonna narrow cast to my Fire Emblem fans out there. For all you Lucina lovers.
Oh, that's me.
The voice of Toru is Ms. Laura Bailey, the voice of Lucina.
No way.
Yes, both in the 2001 and now the 2019 adaptation of this show.
Oh, that's so cool. All right. I'm in.
Even before, when I heard her first as Toru, I thought, oh my God, she's an amazing voice actress. There are sad moments in the show where Toru just I wanted to cry for Toru so badly because she done such a good job. So and hearing the English dub again, hearing these familiar voices, oh my goodness, that hit me, I'm going to say again, nostalgia. I just remember being a child again watching this show. So full of hope still. And I'm wondering now, me watching this new adaptation, adult me watching this, I'm really going to question how much cynicism is actually taking a hold of me, but I'm just so excited to see this show again.
Yeah. It's nice to be getting all this all these things back. You know, we got the Jonas Brothers, and now Fruits Basket.
Fruits Basket.
That's a joke, but yes.
Yeah, thank you. Now I know.
So you watched the first episode. So it's still solid. Like it's not different.
I thought so. Yeah, the 2019 first episode is basically a carbon copy of the 2001 episode, first episode. But I mean, I thought the first episode was amazing. So, and now in this updated art style, you know, it's even better.
All right. Well, that's good. That's a good sign then.
Yeah. It's like, I guess word of warning, this series does get pretty sad, so do get ready for feels. I think a testament to how important this show was to me as a kid was there's this habit that Toru developed as a kid where, you know, her and her parent, which was just her mom who was raising her, and she was all she had, you know, every day when she left for work, Toru would just say, be safe, as like the mantra. And Little Alan ended up adopting that too. Anytime my family would leave or my sister would go somewhere, I would tell them be safe.
Aw, Alan, that's adorable.
I as I'm telling this, I can feel a little reluctance in me because it's just like it does feel a bit silly that I did this, but you know that at the core of this show, it is this idea that like, you know, family, you find a family, even if it's not blood related, and you want to be with them and you want to keep them safe.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The show is so wholesome and heartwarming. And it's back in 2019. I guess once again, you can see it on Crunchyroll and Funimation.
Yes.
Before we move on, we wanted to put a plug here for Livestream for the Cure. It's this amazing charity livestream that the hosts of the Epic Film Guys podcast are doing, but we're going to let you hear it from their mouths.
I'm Nick.
I'm Justin.
And I'm Brian, and we're the hosts of the Epic Film Guys podcast.
With the Livestream for the Cure coming May 17th, we want to know,
What's
your story?
The Livestream for the Cure is a charity event to raise money for the Cancer Research Institute for a future free of all forms of cancer.
It's also a celebration of those we've loved, those we've lost, and those who continue to fight.
This event is so much bigger than just our little show. It's about all of us and how we've been affected by cancer. Throughout the 40-hour live stream for the Cure, we'll be sharing your photos and stories so we can honor who we're fighting for.
Please visit www.livestreamforthecure.com/whatsyourstory and learn how you can share your story with us.
Together, we can make a difference.
All right, Sal.
Yes, Alan.
What did you get excited about this week?
All right, so this week I got excited about Shazam.
Shazam!
Yes, just like that.
Yes, that's all I know about Shazam.
And sadly enough, I was one of the few people that got excited about it because there was like no one really at the theater, and I went opening night and no one wanted to go see the movie with me.
Oh no. I'm sorry, Sal. I know I was one of the people he invited.
Yeah, I can't really fault you though, because you just don't really go to movies in general, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy because the movie is actually getting good reviews.
Nice.
And spoilers, I thought it was good. So I don't understand has DC ruined their movie name like so badly that their movies like just don't even get looked at anymore? I don't know.
I mean, hasn't it? I feel like it has.
I mean, I guess see, I'm biased though, so.
Okay, there you go. Like, I liked Aquaman.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Oh yeah.
End of story. End of story.
Oh yeah, because you didn't like Wonder Woman.
I liked the first half of Wonder Woman.
I love that movie so much.
I think towards the second half of Wonder Woman, they could have done a better job of making it a Wonder Woman movie. And I'm going to leave it at that.
That's fair.
Because I want to hear.
think-
I want to hear about how good Shazam was.
Yeah, so yeah, Shazam was great. I'm gonna keep it spoiler free because you haven't seen it, and hopefully you're gonna see it. All right, so first of all, how much do you know anything about Shazam?
The only thing I know about Shazam is that he's actually a little boy.
Yes.
And then Merlin decides to give him powers.
Okay. All right. So I'll give you a little bit of backstory. This is for the movie and a little bit of the comics. So what happens is Merlin or some wizard, I don't even know if they mentioned the dude's name in the movie, but some wizard is growing very old and losing his power. And the problem with that is he has to keep these demons locked away, and they're the 7 deadly sins. Those are the demons. But because he's growing old, he can't keep them locked away anymore. So what he needs to do is hand over his powers to a new person. And to do that, he needs to find somebody that's worthy of the powers and won't actually like let the demons free or something. And so what happens is a long time ago, he does that, but that person ended up being evil. And I'm pretty sure that guy ends up being Black Adam, who is not mentioned. Yeah, who he's not in the movie though.
Wait, he's not?
No, Black Adam's not in the movie.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they're saving him for a solo movie.
A Black Adam solo movie?
Yeah. So I don't know how that's going to go, but Black Adam's cool. So yeah, so Black Adam turns evil. So Merlin, the wizard, needs to find a different person. And so he's constantly trying to find someone that's pure of heart. And so what ends up happening is he goes through these people, and this is where like the story of the movie takes place, and he finds someone that he deems unworthy, and the guy thinks he is worthy, and so he dedicates his life to get back to the wizard, and he becomes the bad guy. And I don't know if the bad guy is an actual villain in the DC universe, but he's kind of like a Black Adam light.
Priming us for Black Adam full.
Yeah. And so what happens is the dude Merlin, because this bad guy is going around, he needs to find a champion as fast as possible. And so he comes across Billy Batson, and he's like, I need you to take these powers. And Billy is the only person that says, I'm unworthy, which makes him worthy, right?
That's always how it is. Modesty, folks.
There you go. Even though, Billy Batson is kind of a little jerk, but I guess he's pure of heart also. But so that's how he gets his powers, and that's like the whole origin story of Shazam. And it goes deeper into, this is beside the movie, but the Shazam gets his powers from like Hercules and Zeus and those gods. So
was it? I'm trying to remember them. All I remember was like speed of Mercury.
Yeah, speed of Mercury, strength of Hercules, might of Zeus. No, that's not it, because Hercules.
I think
something of Zeus, and then wisdom of
Solomon.
There you go. So yeah, that's where he gets his powers, and to activate his powers, he says Shazam, and it ages him up a bunch because I don't know, magic. So anyway, that's the origin of Shazam. So the movie. The movie is about this kid named Billy Batson, and he's an orphan, and he just recently got into this foster home, but he doesn't think he deserves to be an orphan because he thinks his parents are still out there looking for him.
Oh, wait, okay.
Yeah, and I think this is like a new take on Shazam, because I'm pretty sure he's just an orphan in the shows. Or in the comics, but in this one, he's constantly trying to figure out who his parents are. And that's what kind of drives him to be a jerk and run away a lot. So it does a good job of justifying his actions. But he ends up becoming Shazam because of Merlin, and he has to learn how to be a hero. And so the whole movie is his process of learning what it means to be a hero and the importance of family and picking your family. You actually was talking about that in Fruits Basket, so I think that's perfect.
I think we're playing a lot more with this found family trope, and I absolutely welcome it. I love it.
Yeah, so that's kind of what the movie's about. It's very heartfelt and light. I talked about last week the imprint of Wonder Comics and how they're targeting like a younger audience. Yeah, this movie is definitely towards a younger audience. If you look back at other DC movies, they're a lot darker, and this one was very, very light. So I really appreciated that. And I told you this the other night, but I'll repeat it. It was very reminiscent of a very campy Marvel movie, kind of like Ant-Man or Spider-Man.
Yeah, people love those.
Yeah, so it was a really nice take, and it's so refreshing to see, these superheroes be silly and not worry about end of the world stuff all the time and have all these like huge stakes and going around killing people, even though superheroes shouldn't do that. I digress, though.
Oh, sorry, quick tangent. I wonder if that's why, based on the trailer for Spider-Man Far From Home, that's why the mood seems to have changed.
Oh, you think it's like a lot more serious?
Yeah, it seems like a little more, or at least the trouble in that movie seems a lot more drastic versus the one from Homecoming.
You're right. Yeah, no, that's actually a good observation. The fact that these kind of movies worked is because it's not that there's not trouble, but the trouble kind of is more grounded and hits close to home more than it is like this kind of global thing,
Ah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, so it's definitely it was a really enjoyable movie. I love the fact that they're going on a lighter side because DC has all these weird. It's not like Marvel. It has these weird characters with weird powers. So it's nice to see a nice campy movie, even though I was starting to get tired of the campy movies. So, and I think Zachary Levi nailed Shazam like 100%. And not even Shazam like as in this superhero, but Zachary Levi acting as if he should be a kid because Shazam is a kid.
Yeah, okay, so I was really wondering about that performance.
Yeah, he pulled that off so well. And there's just so many moments of him doing stupid kid stuff and just me laughing out loud because he looks ridiculous doing it. But if you were a kid in an adult's body, that's what you would look like. So, and they'll like use like terminology like woke and lit and stuff, and I just thought it was so funny. The comedy in this movie is fantastic if you're like a millennial or Gen Z.
Okay. I'm not like I'm anytime I hear about like, use of colloquialisms, it's either because those things change out so fast. It's like immediately either you become dated or it works.
Yeah. I think the thing that works though is because it's coming from like an adult's mouth. So it's funny because it's almost like a dad joke.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, it's definitely very funny. And it's not just those funny jokes. They have other jokes too, where there's this moment where Shazam has just become a hero, and so he doesn't know what he can do, and he sees this woman getting robbed, and so he goes over and uses his super speed, which he didn't even know he had, so he goes way too fast and hits the guy. Doesn't kill him, but but he goes over there and he's like, you've been saved, citizen. But it turns out the girl was very competent and had handled the situation already. And he was just confused because he was like, oh, I mean, I didn't think a girl.
Oh, okay.
And then she's like, what? But he was like, oh, yeah, well, I'm going to take this guy to jail and you have a nice day. And, and I just thought that was kind of hilarious.
No, I can see that's using that like very modern like anti-stereotype joking.
Yeah.
I like that.
So it's very good. And so the trailers did a really good job of showing you kind of like the beginning of the movie. So a lot of the stuff that happens towards the end was a big surprise and things like you wouldn't see coming. So, you don't have to worry about the trailer spoiling the whole movie for you, because it definitely gets really weird and it's awesome.
So all we see in the trailer is like the campiness, the weird superhero training. That's just like the first half.
Yeah. And you're definitely going to get that like throughout the whole movie. But yeah, like nothing from the latter half of the movie is even shown in the trailer. So
I do have two questions.
Okay.
And so I'd asked you before, like, the role of Billy Batson, how often he shows up. And you said, Asher Angel shows up more than you expected.
Yeah.
And one of these things about having two actors play the same character is always like, how well is the transition like? I remember I was watching Westworld and you have the two people playing William. And, I think they do a phenomenal job because, communicating with each other, getting the same mannerisms and stuff down. And since, Billy shows up more than you would expect, how do they do? Zachary Levi and Asher Angel?
That's a good question. So, yeah, I did say Zachary Levi nailed it in regards to being like a kid. But in regards to being Billy Batson, he nailed it too. I never once believed that he wasn't Billy Batson. So, and it was definitely this very... The transition was very nice because you always thought it was Billy Batson on screen, even though it wasn't. So
okay, damn, that's good.
Yeah, and I've said this before, but yeah, the child actors in general in this movie and in other things are doing such a fantastic job. So I just want to give them credit because they're very cool and. Acting so better than some adult actors nowadays, but let's not get into that.
It's like I'm really hoping with like these advent of all these like actually really good child actors that we get shows about teenagers that actually have teenagers.
Yes, that is real. Yes, 100%. We've actually been getting that more recently.
Have we?
And yeah, it's nice. So, like, did you ever watch? Well, no, you probably didn't watch it, but it's called the movie. The movie's called 8th Grade.
No.
Okay, yeah. So that one used like actual actors of age, and then you have things like Stranger Things, where those characters are of age, right?
Oh yeah, huh? They are, aren't they?
Yeah, and then those characters were the age they're supposed to be. So. Yeah, definitely.
No, I would. For some reason, Riverdale's been on my mind.
Oh yeah, well, that's CW. CW has it. So it is funny. So someone else in this movie, an actor that plays a teenager in 13 Reasons Why, shows up as an adult in this movie, and I thought that was funny because I'm like, oh. Right, you're playing your actual age in this movie. One thing I did appreciate about this movie is that it did focus a lot about relationships with family, and Billy Batson or Shazam did not have a love interest whatsoever. Because for some reason I was afraid they were gonna give him one, and that's not good. because he's like 12 years old.
Yeah, no, that would have been okay. I don't know. I just get this thing, and that's kind of creepy.
Yeah. And even like I thought so one of his sisters, because he lives in a house full of kids, one of his sisters is 17 going on 18. So I thought they were going to do this whole thing where the girl sees like this superhero on TV and she's like, oh my God, he's so cute or whatever. And I'm like, but no, they're like brother and sister. That would have been so weird. And they do have a scene where the Shazam does save the girl, but it's like it's so wholesome. Their whole exchange
Okay, thank goodness.
is so wholesome. Yeah, and I loved it, and I was like, thank God.
I'm gonna say there's like a fine line between like making these relationships between like child actors creepy and
Yeah.
wholesome, because you look at Stranger Things and those are cute, right?
Right.
And then I guess some of these things we've seen in movies with these romantic subplots have not. And I can't think of one off the top of my mind, so my apologies that I'm kind of speaking out of my ass.
Yeah. No, but yeah, no, I definitely get it. Like in the past, there have definitely been, I can't think of one off the top of my mind right now either, but you just watch them and you're like, is this okay? So, yeah.
On the topic of family, my other question was like, as a superhero origin story, do they ever show his Uncle Dudley?
Do they?
Because, I mean, I don't know if this is like canonical, but the few appearances I've seen of Billy Batson is that he lived with his uncle.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I think they changed that origin part of him. So, but for the better, I think. I don't know. It making him an actual, I mean, I use the term actual orphan, but that's not right. But making him have nobody felt like it gave him more of an impact when it came to choosing who his family was and stuff. So I think that was a better choice.
Okay, nice.
But yeah, so that's Shazam. Thought it was great.
I kind of want to watch it. It sounds cute. It sounds cute.
Yeah, it is. It's cute.
And actually, like, departure from our typical DC movies.
Yeah. There's a time and place, but Superman's not a time or a place.
I don't know what that means.
Some people will. Anyway.
Okay.
But yeah, very wholesome. Please, more movies like this. The end credit scene was dumb, though. And you know how I said it reminds me of a Marvel movie. Marvel movies tend to not have the best villains, and this villain could have definitely been better.
Well, but he's also not the main Shazam villain. Apparently, we're saving him for later.
Exactly. So, testing those waters, I guess.
Well, that's what we got excited about this week. Thank you again. Thank you so much for enthusing with us. If you enjoyed what you heard, share with a buddy so you can nerd out together. If you have any recommendations for improvements, feel free to leave them in the comments of our SoundCloud page. If you want to help out the show, then ratings on our iTunes and Stitcher pages would really help out a lot. If you want a place to just hang out with us, join our Discord server. We have dedicated channels for topic recommendations, show improvements, and nut jar offerings. Links to all of those pages can be found on our website, thosenerdscast.wix site. That's wixsite.com/home. You can also find all of our episodes there as well. We wanted to remind you that on May 17th to the 19th, the hosts of the Epic Film Guys podcast will be hosting their 3rd annual charity stream, live stream for The Cure. They've teamed up with the Cancer Research Institute to raise $7,500 for immunotherapy research. And in the previous years, the Cancer Research Institute also matched the total donations that were earned during the stream. Me and Sal, we're going to be making a guest appearance on May 17th at 2:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But we're going to be watching for, the entirety of the stream. And it would mean a lot to us if you help spread the word about the event, Getting more people to watch and getting those donations in, it's incredible, and it goes a long way towards this good cause. And again, that'll be on May 17th to the 19th on twitch.tv/epicfilmguys. Sal, do you have anything to plug?
All right. So if you want to find me on social media, you can find me at Twitter. I am at Salzik. On Instagram, I am at Mr. Salzik. I stream on Twitch with my good friend Suspiria, and his Twitch channel is Where is Suspiria? And I also have a blog called gotamoment.com, so I post a lot of stuff there too.
And you can find me on Twitter at ArielEyes_. I'm not someone that posts content quite frequently, but it's a good way to contact me, and I love sending people memes, so hit me up on there. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you again next Wednesday.